subscribe to our channel. Click on bell icon, you never miss any update. Now, we are moving on to the very important concept. Okay, means working with the elements. As if now we have just opened some few websites, right? We have worked on different browsers, but now the point is that how to interact with the application. Means, so I want to open facebook.com and I want to enter my email address in this field here. That is what my activity. So if I want to work on Firefox, so what are the things we need to do? First, point one, we need to set the system properties of Firefox. Yes, you know how to do it. Second point, we need to create an object for Firefox driver class. Yes, we'll be creating a driver object. Fine. Next, third step, we are going to invoke facebook.com. So driver.get and facebook.com will get it. So after that, I need to interact with this application. Means I need to identify this element and I need to perform the activity. Correct? Yes. So how system or how your tool identifies this element? This is a very important point, right? Two activities we need to do it actually. One, identify the element. Two, perform the operation. Right? Yes. Now, how it identifies the elements? Let us generalize the topic first. To identify any element as a human, we are going to use its properties. I'm sitting in front of computer, so how would I know that it's a computer? So if it has a mouse, keyboard, CPU, monitor, then it is considered as a computer, right? And any element, like assume that you're waiting for your friends and two people are walking towards you. So how you are going to identify your friend and the X person? You are going to identify your friend using your friend's properties. It may be height, color, gender, nationality, so whatsoever it may be, right? So using this, we are going to identify who is your friend and who is your X person. Same like that, your automation tool also identifies the elements using its properties or attributes. So as if now if I say properties or if I say attributes, it's one and the same. So don't go too much technicalities into it. So it or the tool, any tool in the world, not only Selenium, any tool identifies the elements using its properties. Means an element may have a property of height, property of text, property of width, any property, right? So using those properties, this automation testing tool will understand it. Now, if I want to work on this email or phone number, so we got a point that we need to provide the properties of it, right? Yes. So how would you know the properties then? Or attributes. So actually this email or phone number has an attribute called ID. Using that ID attribute or ID property, I can identify it. But what is the value of that? Who will give you? How you will know that? This is a point. This is a very important point. Earlier, before Firefox 50 or around 50 or 52 versions of Firefox, earlier to that, we used to use a tool called Firebug and Firepath. As if now we don't have any Firebug and any Firepath available for latest Firefox browsers. So I'm not going to discuss anything about the Firebug or Firepath. Why? Because that is that's a history now. We don't have that. Even if you download the Firebug or Firepath into your latest Firefox browsers, it will not work anymore. So leave about it. Don't worry about that. Now, how to identify the properties of it? Go and dig the source code, guys. We'll get it. What's there in it? But is that such easy to open the source code and dig and get the properties of it? No. So for that, we have the options. We have some inbuilt tools for the browser. If you are working on a Firefox, no need to worry. Just right click on the element what you want to know about. Just right click. And here we have something called inspect element. Inspect element. Just click on that. Simple. And you will get a console. It displays complete information of that element. Complete information in the sense its property or its IDs, its class name, its tag name. So all those things. What I do is, for your ease of convenience, I will copy this actually what is given here, the one what is getting highlighted just here, the whole thing I will copy it, and I will take it to some notepad or something like that so that I can explain you. Simple. Right click on it, just I'm copying it, that's it. Just go to copy and outer HTML. Just I'm pasting it in the notepad so that I can explain you just here. So it's an HTML what you are seeing on the screen. HTML tag starts here and tag ends here. So we have the input. Can you see the input, the very first one? What is this actually? We'll call this as a tag name. Tag name. Tag name differs depending on the class of element. I mean to say, if you want to check a link, I'm just forget an account is a link. Just I'm clicking on this. Can you see this? The tag name called A means if it is a link, the tag name will be A. If it is a edit box, the tag name will be input. If it is a button, tag name will be submit, something like that. If it is a drop down, tag name will be select. So depending on the element, this tag name will change. That is point one. Can you see class is a property, value of it is input text. Name is one of the property or attribute of the element, and that's email. I can say to my Selenium saying that identify a element which has a name called email, which has a property called name, and the property value should be email. Then it will search the source code, it will try to identify it. Same like that, ID is an attribute or property and this is the value. Same like that, the others also. Getting the point? So here we are going to use this information to identify the element. In this case, what is ID? ID is a property and value is email. So I can say that go ahead and identify this email edit box using a ID as a property or ID as an attribute and the value is email. Clear? Yes. Now here the thing comes. What are the selectors or what are the locators we have in Selenium? Means by using which properties or which attributes I can identify the element. I can use ID, I can use name or any other we have. Yes, there is a list of 8 identifiers or 8 locators what we can use in Selenium. It's a very important topic. Let's have a look on this. 8 locators, namely ID. Using an ID attribute we can identify the element. Same like that we have name. Using the name we can identify a unique element. Linktext, partialLinktext, TagName, ClassName, CSS, Xpath. These are the 8 types of locators in Selenium. Using these locators generally we are going to identify any element on the web page. Now we'll see in depth of it. We'll see each and every locator and we'll discuss about that. Now the very first activity what I am trying to do it here, just try to understand. Here my activity is just I'm writing it here. My agenda of this test is I want to open facebook.com, identify this element, email or phone number. After identifying that element, I want to write my email ID there. Writing my email ID in this email or phone book box is my agenda. For that, I'm going to use an attribute or I'm going to use a selector called ID. Using ID attribute, I need to find that element. That is what my agenda. Let's do it. You can use anything, guys, but only thing is that if it should be unique, it will identify it. Next, let me open or Eclipse and let me create a new class and let me call it as a Selenium first test. Selenium locators 1, public static void main. Just click on finish. I want to open this in Firefox. So for that, system.set properties WebDriver driver.get. These are the common steps. Just I'm copying it to save the time. Just I'm copying it and pasting it here. Perfect. In place of gmail.com, let me change it to Facebook. So once I run the test, it will open facebook.com. Next, I need to identify this element using a ID option. So if you just go to that element what you want to know about, right click on it and just click on inspect element. That's it. And the elements information related will be given here. ID is the attribute and the value is email. You can see it here. Email. It's a case sensitive. It's good if you copy it. Now let's move on to your Eclipse and let's write the code. Driver dot. Just see it, guys. What is the best suitable option? Find element, right? Driver dot find element. And we have a class called by. By. Driver dot find element by. Just write by dot. By what you are going to identify? By ID. Just see. Driver dot find element by ID. And what is the value of that ID? Just write it in the quotes. The value is email. So after identifying it, what you are going to do, up till here it will identify it, guys. After identifying that element, I want to enter my email address. So I can use an option called send keys. Send keys will help us to provide the keys from your keyboard. So driver dot find element by ID and send the keys. And what are those keys? I can say Kiran dot Udemy at gmail.com. So once I run the test, it will open facebook.com in Firefox browser. It will identify that element and it will write email in that box. Let's run it, guys. Just save the test and run it, the very first Selenium test. Same principle if you are working in Chrome or Internet Explorer, anywhere. Facebook.com on the screen, and it has identified that box and it has successfully written my email address over there. Simple, right? So if it is in Firefox, what happens if it is in a Chrome, Kiran? Everything is same, guys. Only we need to give the Chrome information here. That's it. But a lot of people get doubt that you have identified the elements information in Firefox, right? This is Firefox browser actually what is on the screen. Will this test run in Chrome because you have identified the elements in Firefox? Obviously yes. The ID attribute will remain the same in whatever the browser it may be. Actually what is this? It is getting the information from the source code. Means if I open a facebook.com in Chrome, it's a facebook.com. If I open a facebook.com in Safari, it's the same UI, right? That never changes. So the properties almost will not change. So I can use this to work on any browser. Don't think that I'm using element inspector in Firefox. Does the code works in Chrome? Without any problem it will work. The ID will remain the same. I will show you that. So just let's move on to the Chrome and let's take an example of Facebook or Facebook here. So what I'm trying to do is, right now I'm in Chrome. I'm just right clicking on it and go to inspect. Just here, just click on the inspect. And you can see almost the same similarities here. Here, type email and ID. Here we can see email. So almost all the same property what has been displayed in Firefox. The same is getting displayed in Chrome. Just see, almost nothing difference, right? Yes, maybe the pattern is different. Here it is displaying ID. Here ID is displayed at the 4th position. Like few differences are there, but technically the values remains the same. ID is ID, email is email, right? Class name is input text, and here we will also class name input. Type is email, and here also we'll get type called email. Just see, means I can use either Chrome inspector or I can use Firefox inspector to write your script. Clear? And even we have this option in Internet Explorer also. In the Internet Explorer, just click on F12. We'll get in developer tools. There also it will give you the same information. So my point of saying you this is, if I am spying it or if I am getting the details using inspector in Firefox, and once I write using that information, that code can be executed in any browser, but need to be changed these two lines. If you want to work on Firefox, give the Firefox driver, Chrome, give the Chrome driver, and system.set properties also, we need to change it. Then it will work. Clear? Next. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about all the. What is the next locator? We have name. Using a name selector also, we can identify the element. Let's see how we can do it. For this, let us take some other website and let's try to work on that. We have done with the Facebook, right? So we'll do some more example. We'll take some other website and we'll try to work on that. Let us take yahoo.com now. Yahoo.com. Let's go to the official website and just type it as yahoo.com. So once I write login.yahoo.com, it will take you to a place where we can perform the login operation of Yahoo. So here it is asking me to enter your name. So I need to identify this element and I need to give my email address in the Yahoo. So here I'm going to use a attribute called name. For that, just right click on it and just click on inspect. I'm doing this in Chrome now, but I will run the test in Firefox. Just see. Input class, type name. Name is username. Just copy this username, and now let me create a new class. Perfect. And let me call this as selectors example 2 public static void main, and just click on finish. So I'm going to work on Firefox. So this 3 lines remains the same. In place of facebook.com, I need to change it with login.yahoo.com. Let's do that. Just come to the next line, write driver dot, find element by dot. You're going to find element by now, name by dot name. Perfect. And what is that name? We have already spied it, but let me show you once again. And the name, here we go, username. Just copy it. It is case sensitive. It's good if you copy it. Just copy that and paste it here. So after identifying that username dot send a case and enter the kiran@yahoo.com. So have identified the elements in Chrome. Yes, but I'm running the test in Firefox. Obviously it will work. Just run the test. It's my name. And successfully Yahoo login on the screen, and it has successfully written kiran@yahoo.com like this. Next. In the previous example, we have done with how to work with ID and name. Now let's see how to work with an attribute called linktext. How to identify an element using a locator called linktext. We'll see that. For that, let me create a test. Let me create a class. Right click on your package, new class. Let me call it as a selector example 3. Public static void main, and just click on finish. So I'm going to open this website called jabong.com. Here we go on the screen, and I need to click on this kids. It's a link actually. Just I want to click on that link. Let's see how we can do that. First of all, we need to give the system properties, WebDriver and Firefox driver.get. All these things remains the same. To save the time, I'm just copying it and pasting it here. So this will give the information of WebDriver, and this will invoke a plain instance of Firefox. On that, we are going to open jabang.com as a website. This one, just copy this, and here we go. After that, I need to identify that element using a link text. So go to the element, and here the kids, right click on it, and you just call it as a inspect. That's it. It's a link. A represents link, and kids, KIDS, you just literally copy it. That's it. Now write a script to identify that element using a link text. Driver dot find element by dot link text. Here we go, and give the link text. This is a text. After identifying that element using that link, just go ahead and click that. After clicking on that, so obviously it will take you to a page where it displays the information of kids. Next, I'm going to get the title. Driver dot get title, and you can just take that into a console. syso system.out.println of it. Simple. Now once I run the test, it will open jabang.com website and will click on a link called kids, and once after clicking on that, it will get the title and title will be printed in the console. Let's run the things. I'm just clicking on run. You just have a look on this. Here we go, jabang.com on the screen. Yep, it has been successfully clicked on kids. You can see that kids camp on the screen. Now let's check the console and let's see what's it saying. And in the console it is saying that kids online shopping. Here we go. Means successfully it has clicked on that element using a link text. Same like that, we have a concept called partial link text. The difference between the link text and partial link text is, using a partial link text, we can give a partial text and we can identify the element. Let's take the same website here. Here we have something called track order. To the right side of the screen, you can see something called track order. Once we click on that, it will display this tracking details on the screen. I need to click on that, but I don't want to give the whole link details. I'm going to give the link text, but partial link text I'm going to give it. Right click on that element and just click on inspect element, and let's read that element. Let's check first of all whether it's a link or not. It's a in the sense, obviously it's a link. And here we have a text called track order. So what I do is, rather than taking a whole text, I will take a partial text, TRACKOR, that's it, and we'll try to identify that element. Let's see. Let me comment out these two lines. Add block comment. Next. Driver dot find element by dot partial link text. And you can give the partial link what you are supposed to used to identify the element, just give that partial text. Track order is the complete text, but I'm giving only the partial one, and just go ahead and click on that. Means it's going to identify the element using this partial text. Just run it. There is nothing difference. In linked text, we are going to give the whole link. In a partial linked text, we are going to give a part of text. If you have a huge linked text, just take 1 or 2 words and try to ask system to identify it. If it is unique, definitely it will identify that. Yep, you can see that track your order on the screen. Means successfully it has clicked on that without any problem. As simple as it. Next. And a very important one. Let's begin with that. We have done with ID, we have done with name, we have done with linked text, we have done with partial linked text. Now we are going to identify the elements using a tag name. Tag name. First of all, what is a tag name? As discussed earlier, the tag name differs element to element. Here it's a link. That's the reason the tag name is saying it as a. If it is a button or something like that, the tag name would be different. Just here, let's move on to the Facebook. Here we have a different elements on the screen. And if I want to spy this email or phone number, just click on inspect element. It has a tag name called input. You just see it. Same like that, if I want to identify this birthday, month, date, and year, here we have. So I'm trying to identify this day. You can say it's a select. And here we have something called button. Here it's saying it's a button. You can see it here. And if you want to click on this create a page, it's a link. It's saying a. Means the tag name changes depending on the element. That is one. Now, can I identify this element, email or phone number, using a tag name? Obviously no. Why? Because tag name, this here, what is the tag name of this element? Input. And what is the tag name of this element? Even input. Means tag name is not a unique property. Multiple elements has a tag name. So tag name is not ideal to identify a single element. If you want to identify the group of elements, assume that I want to find total number of links in this page. Total number of links in this facebook.com page. If that is the case, link is identified by using a tag name called a. Means if an element has a tag name called a, literally that is a link. So I can identify all the elements in this page using a tag name called a. Let's do that. I want to find total number of links in this page. That is what my task is. Let's create a new class and call it as a links count. Links count. I'm going to count the number of links in facebook.com page. This is a common script. Let me copy it and paste it here. Next, driver.get facebook.com. In the next line, I'm going to write something like this. Driver dot, just understand the concepts. Find elements, not element. It's a number of elements. So I'm taking plural here. Driver dot find elements by dot tag name called a. What does it say? It is saying that identify all the elements which has a tag name called a. Driver dot find elements by tag name called a. Means I'm asking it to identify the elements which are called links. tag name A represents link, right? Identify all the links, and after identifying all the links, get the size of it. Simple. Size only works if you use driver.find elements. If it is an element, then size will not work. Element in the sense single. What is the use of taking a size? If it is a elements, then it is multiple. So what is a count? 1 or 2 or dozen? How many are there? Dot size. And size obviously will give you in terms of integer. I can say links size, and it would be int. In the next line, let me write something like this: so system.out.println number of links in Facebook page equals to plus is a concatenation links size. Simple. Now once I run the test, it will open facebook.com. Using by.tagname, it will identify all the elements which has a tag name called A, and it will take the size and it will print it. Just I'm running the test. Here we go. Facebook.com on the screen. Yep. Let's see the console. Your console says number of links in Facebook page equal to 57. This facebook.com page home page has 57 links. Links count, we have done it. Next. One of the identifier, same like a tag name, we have something called a class name. Class name is as equal to as a tag name. Using a class name, we can't identify a single element. So group of elements can be identified using class name. Let's see how we can use that. This here, if I want to spy the very first element, right click on it and you just click on inspect element. What is the class? Input text. If I identify the second element also, obviously the class will be input text. See here, one or multiple elements will have the same class name. Class is nothing but categorization of the element. So the same thing, I want to find how many elements are there, with a class name called input text. Class name called input text. There will be multiple elements. Let's see the same driver dot find elements by dot class name, and you can just give the class name dot size. So I'm asking you to find the number of elements which has a class name called input and take that into a variable. Let me call it as an input size, and it's an integer. So system.out.println of total number of elements with class name input text equal to plus INPUTSIZE. Simple. It will count the number of elements which has a class name called input text, and it will print that in the console. See here, we are going to write a lot of test cases as we go into the subject. Here my agenda is, let us get some hands on all the selectors or locators what we have. You can see that facebook.com on the screen, and just check the console. It is saying that total number of elements with class name input text is equal to 9. We have 9 elements with the same class name. As simple as that. The very important one, identifying the element using Xpath and CSS. Let's start with the Xpath. Identifying any element using Xpath. As if now, just think that Xpath is also one type of identifier. Yes. We are going to learn lot of things about Xpath as we go into the subject. Yes, a lot of things we are going to learn on Xpath as we go into the subject. We need to write our own Xpath in the coming classes. I'm going to show you what is traversing Xpath and everything. But as if now, you just think that Xpath is also one of the identifier. Now, in the previous, maybe I can say that the older versions of Firefox, as I said, it used to support something called FirePath. FirePath used to give us automatic Xpath. Before that, we used to write our own Xpath, and I'm going to show you that. And no worry, even your Chrome inspector and as well as your Firefox inspector will also give you ready-made Xpath. Okay, so as if now we use the ready-made Xpath and we'll try to run the test. After that, we'll explain you how it has been generated and how it works. Okay, let's see that. Assume that on a facebook.com page, I need to enter my name in this first name field using the Xpath. So first I need to identify this element using a Xpath. Just right click on that element and inspect element. That's it. Here we got some information. The simple right click on the highlighted area on the screen. Just go to copy, and here we have a Xpath. Just copy the Xpath. That's it. Don't do anything. Copy it. Now I need to identify that element using Xpath. Simple. Driver dot find element by dot Xpath and give that Xpath here. No need to worry about anything. Just copy it and paste it here and just write it as a click. Simple. Next, I want to identify this surname using CSS. CSS is also one of the selector. Right click on that element once again and just click on inspect element. Right click on the highlighted area, copy, 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 CSS selector. Driver dot find element by dot CSS selector and just paste it in the quotes. Dot send keys, and what the keys you want to send it, just write it here. And even in this case also I need to send the keys, not a click actually. Dot send keys, and you can give the send keys Kiran. Simple. So I'm going to identify one element using Xpath and the other with CSS. Let us run it. So in the first field it will write Kiran, in the second field it should write Kumar. Facebook.com on the screen, and successfully it has written Kiran in the first field and Kumar in the second field. So it has identified the element using your locators called Xpath and CSS. So we have completed all the 8 locators. We have hands on now all the 8 locators. Now we'll frame some examples. Let's work with these locators. Let's see a couple of examples before going to the next topic. Okay, let's begin.